education at the University of Lagos, where he obtained a master's degree in economics. His academic journey also includes attending the Harvard Business School, where he completed the Honor of President Management program, equipping him with advanced business management skills. Tony currently serves as the chairman of Ayers Holdings, Transcorp, and United Bank for Africa (UBA), demonstrating his significant influence in the banking and investment sector. He founded the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which aims to empower African entrepreneurs through comprehensive training, mentorships, and funding opportunities. In addition to his professional achievements, he's also a family man, married to Dr. Adele Vivian Elumelu, and together they have 7 children. In 2020, his efforts were acknowledged when he was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world. Anthony Elumelu's net worth is estimated to be around $700 million, a testament to his successful ventures and strategic investments. Elumelu continues to be a driving force in the business world, advocating for sustainable economic growth and empowering the next generation of African entrepreneurs.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Global World News on Sook News Television, reaching you live from our studios in Lagos State, Nigeria. I am Sarah Owusu-Ansah. Let's begin with today's top stories. Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, expands crude export strategy with new oil grade. The federal government of Nigeria launches nationwide Safe Schools Department to boost security across the country. African Development Bank AFDB approves fresh funding to strengthen Senegal's economy. Global markets defy Middle East tensions as investors stay confident. And in sport news, Super Falcons bounce back to revive Women's Africa Cup of Nations title bid. We'll bring you details of these headlines and more stories in a moment. Let's begin in Nigeria, where the country is expanding its presence in the global oil market. The Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has offered 2 950,000 barrel crude cargoes for export, including the first commercial shipment of its newest crude grade, Cawthon. Now, every new export grade gives Nigeria access to more buyers, strengthens foreign exchange earnings, and reduces dependence on a limited number of crude blends. If global demand remains strong and production continues to improve, Nigeria could earn more export revenue at a time when government finances are under pressure. Still in Nigeria, where the federal government has created a new Safe Schools Department to coordinate security across schools nationwide. The department would work with security agencies and state governments to improve protection for students and teachers. Now, this initiative comes after years of school attacks and kidnappings that disrupted education in several parts of the country. The success will depend less on policy announcements and more on how effectively safety measures are implemented in classrooms across Nigeria. We move on to Delta State, where the state is trying to reduce its dependence on oil revenue. This is as the state launched a $100 million viability guarantee fund alongside new tax incentives to attract investors into agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, energy, and the blue economy. Now, by helping reduce investment risk, the government hopes to create jobs and encourage businesses to expand. If this is successful, the model could become a template for other states looking to diversify their economies beyond oil. In the same vein, the World Trade Organization Director General, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, says Nigeria's biggest challenge is not how much government spends, but it is how well it spends. Speaking at the Delta Economic Summit, she urged governments to prioritize efficient budget implementation, infrastructure maintenance, and lower trade costs instead of simply increasing their expenditure. Her message is very straightforward. Roads, ports, and reliable electricity create lasting economic growth only when projects are properly executed. In another news this afternoon, Nigeria's reliance on imported petrol continues to decline. The petroleum regulator says the country almost lost 78% of petrol supply during the first half of the year. Now, this came from domestic refineries, while fuel consumption eased as higher prices encouraged more efficient use. Greater local refining strengthens energy security and continues to reduce pressure on foreign exchange. The next challenge is ensuring increased local production eventually translates into more stable prices for the consumers. Now we move on to the stock market, where Nigeria's stock market opened August with a gain of nearly 289 billion naira as investors returned to buy undervalued shares. The recovery suggests confidence remains in the equities market despite recent market volatility. For investors, it's an encouraging signal, although analysts say sustained gains will depend on broader economic performance and corporate earnings. Now, as most states establish independent electricity markets, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, is calling for a unified approach to protecting electricity consumers across the country. The Commission says stronger coordination among regulators will improve investor confidence while ensuring consumers receive fair treatment, regardless of where they live. Now, the success of Nigeria's power reforms may ultimately depend as much on effective regulation as on the new investment. You're still watching the World News on Sook News Television. We'll bring you African and foreign stories right after this break. Just stay with us.
My name is Shino Ogbadegeshin. I'm the CEO of Gozi Micro Insurance. Continue to watch Sook News.
Adenike Adeyemi, Executive Director of Faith Foundation. Keep watching Sook News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch Sook News TV.
Hey everyone, Majuli Obaje here representing Gigi. Keep watching Sook News, okay? Stay updated with Sook News.
My name is Aton Kame. I am the head of MSME Banking. Please keep watching Sook News and stay glued to Sook News.
I recommend that more and more people should watch Sook News because they deal with business news.
Hi, my name is Amaka Wokolo. I am the director of the Faith Institute at Faith Foundation. Keep watching Sook News.
Fellow Nigerians, did you know that constituency and executive projects in your communities are not gifts from your legislators? They are projects sponsored by the legislators and funded by the federal government to improve your life and the lives of those around you. These projects belong to you. Without your vigilance, they might never be completed. Don't allow them to fade away into unfulfilled promises. Stand up, take ownership, monitor their progress, demand accountability, and report concerns to ICPC. Call our toll-free line now on 0800 2255 4272 or WhatsApp only on 0806 656 4726. This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) with support from MacArthur Foundation and the Center for Democracy and Development in Africa (CDD).
Welcome back. Let's cross over to the African scene where the African Development Bank, AFDB, has approved $35.4 million to help Senegal strengthen public finances and improve budget management. The funding comes as the country works to address growing debt concerns while restoring investor confidence. For Senegal, stronger fiscal discipline could improve long-term economic stability and make it easier to attract future investments for the country. Meanwhile, families in Morocco are still searching for relatives after last week's deadly migrant crossing into Spain's enclave of Ceuta. The tragedy underscores the growing risk that many migrants are willing to take in pursuit of better opportunities. It also places renewed pressure on European and African governments to tackle both border security and the economic conditions driving irregular migration across the continent. Now, in the same vein, the European Union is proposing stronger border controls and closer cooperation with Morocco following last week's mass migrant surge into Ceuta. Now, European leaders are saying the priority is preventing future migration crises while maintaining regional stability. The debate reflects a broader challenge facing Europe: balancing humanitarian responsibilities with border security. Let's move on to South Africa, where the currency, rand, remained stable today as investors monitor developments surrounding possible United States-Iran talks and awaited key United States employment data, which is expected later this week. Market participants are assessing how geographical developments and labor market figures could influence future interest rate decisions and global financial markets. The rand traded at 16.5 against the United States dollar, while South Africa's benchmark government bond yield remained unchanged. Now, analysts said the currency's direction would depend largely on progress in diplomatic talks and the outcome of the upcoming employment reports, which could shape investor confidence and monetary policy expectations. Now, on the foreign scene, Brazil's central bank is widely expected to reduce interest rates for a fourth consecutive meeting. Lower borrowing costs could support economic growth, but policymakers remain cautious as inflation risks persist. The Balancing Act reflects a challenge facing many central banks around the world: stimulating growth without allowing inflation to return. In Japan, the country has presented increased defense investment as a strategy to strengthen both national security and long-term economic growth. In its latest defense white paper released today, the government said greater investment in technology, innovation, and local manufacturing will support the defense industry while creating broader economic opportunities. The government said this approach will further encourage technological advancement, support emerging businesses, and improve industrial capacity as Japan prepares a new national security strategy. Officials added that sustained investment in defense-related industries is expected to enhance economic resilience and future competitiveness. Meanwhile, China is expanding flood prevention and landslide monitoring as extreme weather becomes more frequent. By investing in early warning systems and disaster technology, authorities hope to reduce both economic losses and risk to human life. Climate resilience is rapidly becoming an economic priority as much as an environmental one across the world. Global stock markets moved higher even as tensions around the Strait of Hormuz pushed oil prices upward. Investors appear encouraged by strong corporate earnings and continued investment in technology, but energy markets remain vulnerable, meaning geopolitical tensions could quickly reverse today's optimism. Moving on from that story, the United Nations Security Council is continuing informal consultations to choose the organization's next Secretary General. The next leader will inherit growing global challenges from armed conflict and climate change to humanitarian crisis and economic uncertainty. Whoever emerges will help shape the United Nations direction for the next 5 years, and we await a result on that. Cuba has suffered a second nationwide power grid collapse in less than 24 hours. Now, years of aging infrastructure, fuel shortages, and underinvestment have left millions facing repeated blackouts. The crisis illustrates how unreliable energy supply can quickly affect businesses, healthcare, education, and everyday life across the country. We move on to Thailand, where the country is pushing for renewed engagement with Myanmar's military government. Now, Bangkok believes maintaining dialogue could support regional stability, even as Myanmar's political crisis continues. The proposal reflects the Association of Southeast Asian Nations' ongoing struggle to find practical solutions to one of Southeast Asia's most difficult diplomatic challenges. This is still the Global Business World News on Sook News Television. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more stories in a moment.
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success story, except it didn't happen overnight. I'm happy to be here. One of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. The point being that Nigeria has so much to bring to the world in terms of these things, but we will be bringing fresh energy, fresh ideas, a fresh engagement, and we're obviously open to collaboration. But hip-hop, it never dies. What's the difference between Thor and Shango? Thor is approaching $50 billion in revenue. Shango's broke somewhere outside Lagos. And that's a lack of imagination on our part, Africa, and they're all Nigerian. So to be seen and to be noticed is very hard if you're not in the place where all the noise is being made.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Welcome back. Let's move on now to sport news, where the Lagos State government says it is ready to host this year's Confederation of African Football CAF Awards after CAF officials inspected facilities in the city. Beyond football, hosting the event represents an opportunity to showcase Nigeria's ability to stage major international sporting as well as cultural events while boosting tourism and investments for the country. And finally, we move on to the Women's African Cup of Nations, WAFCON, as Nigeria Super Falcons have bounced back from their opening defeat with a hard-fought 1-0 victory over Zambia. Captain Rasheedat Ajibade praised the team's resilience after they secured the win, despite finishing the match with 10 players. The result keeps Nigeria's hopes alive, but tougher tests lie ahead as the race for another continental title continues. And that is a wrap on the Global Business World News today. But before we go, here is a quick look at our top stories again. Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has expanded crude export strategy with new oil grade. The federal government of Nigeria has launched nationwide Safe Schools departments to boost security. African Development Bank, AFDB, has approved fresh funding to strengthen Senegal's economy. Global markets defy Middle East tensions as investors stay confident. And in sport news, Super Falcons bounce back to revive Women's African Cup of Nations WAFCON title bid. Thank you for joining us. Remember to follow us across all of our social media platforms at Sook News TV and Sook Digital. I am Sarah Ogusoadza. Thank you for watching.
So growing up, I was thinking I would be in the, maybe being doctor or lawyer or, all those mentality then. But right now, I realize that I'm at the roadside roasting corn for the streets of Lagos, that's all.
Akara business doesn't take a lot of money.
I wanted to be an actress. I'm a nurse.
Wait a minute.
Growing up, I always wanted to be a nurse. I'm a nurse.
Okay. Ew, this is a big question. Growing up, when I was very small, I want to become a laboratory doctor.
What do you mean by that?
But I found myself as a hairstylist.
Well, when I was growing up, I actually wanted to become a surgeon.
I mean, it's all right.
Okay, so apparently I'm a business development executive. Basically, we're into investment, immigration, real estate, international real estate, and also international real estate, immigration, investments, and insurance, yes.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
I actually wanted to become an artist. The one that draws, that does portraits and paintings.
Oh, incredible!
Well, now I'm into flower decorations, doing of bouquets, and doing decoration for events, basically.
I want to become an accountant. I'm working with an audit firm as a tax consultant.
He's beginning to believe.
I said I wanted to become a pilot.
What?
I'm a manager at a sports shop, tennis sports shop.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Okay, growing up, I wanted to become a doctor.
Perfect.
Oh, I'm actually working for a sales company as a sales representative.
I like to be a businessman.
You serious?
I'm still doing a business also, but I never reached the level I'm expecting.
A new generation of Nigerian artists is breathing life back into the age-old craft of bead making, a tradition that has adorned the necks, wrists, and waists of Nigerian women for centuries. Beads have always held a significant place in Nigerian culture, symbolizing wealth, status, and identity. In ancient times, they were used as currency and were integral in various rites of passage, from birth to marriage. However, with the advent of modernity, the demand for traditional bead making dwindled as imported jewelry and contemporary fashion took center stage. In this special report, Bayo Olaoye will explore the noticeable resurgence in the popularity of